There was a set that came out that almost destroyed the Pokemon TCG. Or did it? Let's check this out. We're all familiar with the fact that Pokemon has grown over the years. We've seen now 9 generations with different starters in each generation, a world of new Pokemon there, variations like Galarian or Hisuian of the same type of Pokemon that we had seen previously. And this ever-evolving space and world of Pokemon has caught the interest of millions. Back in 2000, the year 2000, February to be specific, they came out with a set in the Wizard of the Coast era called Base Set 2. Now, Base Set 2 was a collection of cards from Base Set Unlimited, Fossil, and Jungle, taking what they thought were the best of those sets and making one set, all based on complete reprints and having that little 2 stamp there. Now, that changed a lot of things for Pokemon, but in what way did it really impact us? We're going to dive into that a little bit, but for now, I'd like to take a break here and say you could have a Galarian Articuno tin from Crown Zenith. You could have one of 2 3-pack blisters from Stellar Crown, or at least I believe that's the set we're going with. Or you can have a mystery prize, a Pokemon mystery prize. I'm giving away 4 prizes here, just working our way up in subscribers, so please take a moment to subscribe, like the video, and be a part of the channel permanently. Specifically, you're going to have to go over to this video here and comment on that video. I would really appreciate a comment here, but that's the one you want to go to be entered for your chance to win. Now, when I talk about Base Set 2, I'm going to bring it over to the screen. When I talk about Base Set 2, that's way back in time. All these different Pokemon sets. We had Base Set Unlimited, or the first edition was a variation of that. Jungle, Fossil, and Base Set 2. Now, this one didn't seem to be appealing to so many when it was released. It was still a fairly new phenomenon. It had only been around for a few years, and in the United States, only a couple years of it to really take off. So by the time Base Set 2 came around, you were either already interested in Pokemon, or you weren't quite there yet. This release had 2 reactions. One was, I've already gone after all these cards, why do I need the exact same thing again? And 2, a whole new generation of children were coming about into the TCG, the scene, whether it was to play the game or collect the cards or just having that trading time with their friends, opening packs, whatever you may want. And it was new for them. It was an opportunity to pull a Charizard where in the base set packs that were becoming harder to find, wasn't as easy to get a hold of pulling a Charizard. Maybe there were others that you wanted to get, but that Charizard was of course the chase again. Now, for me and my friends growing up in this era, we saw this and went, why would we want that when we already have everything at our disposal with the previous sets? And it took a long time for me to even understand the purpose of this continual reprint. Fast forward to 2016 when Evolutions came out, and there was a massive boom, people my age and similar, who came back to the hobby at that time because of that reprint of the cards they once knew and loved. The ones they collected as children and sold at a garage sale or threw away when they went off to college, because who would want that shiny cardboard anymore? Well, I was the weirdo who held on to it and moved that thing across the country 2-3 times, and several other moves in between, but it's all come around to being something worth it in my collection. Everybody's got a different journey on it, but at the time Base Set 2 came around, I thought, how dumb is this? Yet that was probably the first introduction for certain people. And when we want to go through things, we start looking at it in a different perspective. There are variations of Pikachu from all sorts of sets. Why? Pikachu's popular, the mascot of the entire franchise, and it continually sells. Now, we've seen it when it was the base set unlimited or the first edition version. We saw a repeat in Jungle, and it didn't bother us because the artwork was different. And then it came back out again, this same set, but a full art version. I don't know if I can find it anywhere quickly here, in Celebrations, which it was finally nice to see the rest of the scene. We have the VMAX, we have these special Pikachu cards here from Trainer Galleries. There's our Celebrations one. A V with a lot more action here from Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. There are so many different variations, promos over the years, and different ways to collect this one single character. So the repetition of the character feeling wore off quickly after base set 2, but base set 2 was unique in that people really didn't seem to be attracted to it. It had very low sales comparatively to the previous sets, and sets following it picked back up again. And the reason being is that instant reprint probably too soon for anybody to really appreciate, and that might be the reason it fell off. But again, there was a whole slew of people coming in new to the TCG. Think about when Evolutions came out. It brought a huge crowd back into the Pokemon space. Celebrations did the exact same thing. Pokemon 151 did the exact same thing. We're going to see this again moving into early next year when we have that rebranding of Team Rocket in some way. If there's a Team Rocket set coming out, that's what's going to bring a lot more people back into it because of the Team Rocket cards from previous generations. So the fact that they continually use the same Pokemon over and over is something we're used to now. But back then, when it was base set 2, it was very uncommon and unnatural to see this, and it had a lot of mixed reviews and a lot of mixed feelings. If we look at today's market and how expensive it is, and I filtered these out to be the specific card from the specific set showing near mint only, so we have a closer comparison. Not that you're going to find near mint very easily, so these listings are going to be skewed with the fact that there's so few available. The price is going to be somewhat of a premium, so you might have better luck finding it at a local card store or something of that nature. Maybe eBay, where there's a wider swath of people trying to compete for that space. We have $235 going for base set 2 Charizard. You go to Charizard from base set and it's $367. That's a $130 spread. $130 spread between the two of them. So the value is still there in base set 2, and it could be as simple as there wasn't as much of a draw for it when it came out, so there was a lower amount to be choosing from, so less on the market. These things were printed to oblivion even back then, and they still are today, so it's not really that big, but it is something to consider in how this works out. Now, what would you pick up if you had the choice? Well, maybe you don't have the option to be in that price bracket there for the 365 area, where 235 would be more manageable, and you still have a very early rendition of Charizard. You can go into Blastoise, similar story here. We're about $80 on the base set 2. We're about $120, another $40 spread here. We have quite a difference between the two sets. Venusaur, same story, 60 up to 99. That's $100 there, okay? Another $40 spread. And this was all following some little bit of a bump and boom going on there. Seems to be the case here. Let's go back to the Charizard. Not so much the same trend line there. So interesting to watch these, and I do like to look at the market side of this, but I think there's something interesting about the history when it comes into some of these older sets and how they're released and how the community took to them. There are going to be so many sets that I have so little familiarity with that it's going to be interesting to even explore it, because it'll be me seeing it for the first time in some cases. So as well versed as I am in this space, there is so much going on and so much history in Pokemon that I still do not understand. So this is just kind of a little bit of a challenge for me to be able to see more. What I like to do here is look at some price reviews and see where things are at. I was just browsing through base set 2, some of the cards, to see if there were any that stood out that weren't completely recognizable to base set Fossil or Jungle, but that was the case. They were all reprints off of that set. In totality, just full-on reprints. So we see that today, and it seems very normal, but at the time, this was almost mind-blowing how crazy it was. Looking at market value, and this is going to be without any filters of going near mint, it's saying a market price of 75. There's a lot of damaged and really heavily played cards, bringing that price down. So if you want it to have a copy, you can get a copy. I would not go damaged on that, spending $90, but maybe into a moderately played just to have a copy. You're going to have wear and tear, but at least you can get a hold of it at a reasonable price. So if you want to end up completing base set 2 or completing a binder, literally the only difference is going to be this stamp right here. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there's anything different within the move set here. The numbering for the set will be different because it's a different set, so that makes sense. These are just looking at the top 10 best selling of base set 2 currently, and it looks like we have that wave again there in recent months, just kind of bumping up, kind of all over the place here. I wonder if we're trying to get people getting in some of that grading of Chansey. That's like a super challenge to get anything good there. Little climb going here, but it's probably a better structure to look at a year, and yeah, we haven't made much progress on base set 2. I don't think it's one that's been highlighted very well over the many past years here, and I don't think that there's a lot of people seeking these out unless you want to have that set that you're just completing. But in today's market, where you're putting collection dollars, it's really hard to justify reprints when you're so close to that early day of base set unlimited, jungle, fossil, where you can stretch a little bit more and have some of those OG Pokemon cards available to you, and it wouldn't be taking you too far. I mean, we just saw this Clefable redone in the Classic Collection TCG, big, huge package game. I think I actually have it. So there you can see the interesting hollow pattern, but same card as that Clefable going on. So reprints are not a new thing. They were around from almost the beginning, and they continue today, even the original artwork coming out in modern markets. So pretty crazy that that's going on. We have our Blastoise here. Looks a little bit on a down there. Let me see. Yeah, still pretty much the same from a year ago to now. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of crazy growth, and that's the thing. Just because something's older, like these vintage cards, does not mean they're infinitely more valuable. It doesn't actually hold that to be true. It's still supply and demand situation always, and people might buy these, hold them for a while, and then offload them to trade up into their collection. So you don't really have a guarantee that just because it's older, it's going to go on forever. I just thought base set 2 is very unique in that it did have a big depression on the entire collector's market at the time of its release, as well as a slight surge of new collectors seeing that opportunity to pull some of these cards for the first time in their journey of Pokemon. It's a very interesting set. I'm not really fixated on the prices here or the artwork because we've discussed these artworks. We've discussed these prices in the past videos looking at earlier sets where these all originate from. But it's just a really interesting space that brings us to the fact that Pokemon had early on gone into the reprint strategy and how well that has paid off since then. If you look at evolutions, the Charizard is pretty hot. You look at even the reverse holo Charizard, pretty hot. And you're getting close to that base set 2 price. And the age gap between them is pretty crazy for the fact that they're going to be similar in price. So it's an interesting set for the TCG history, for Pokemon specifically, their history, Wizard of the Coast era, right before we end up moving on into what we have now, currently, and all of the many reprints we've seen since then, celebrations, the Classic Collection, all of them. This Charizard's been done over and over again, and it still holds up because it brings us back. Maybe for you it brings you back to the base set 2, or maybe for me it brings me back to when I finally got my base set unlimited Charizard. Just that nostalgia holds up and rings true. Go ahead and subscribe, like the channel, like the video, and enter for your chance to win a Galarian Articuno tin from Crown Zenith, 2 3-pack blisters from Stellar Crown, and 1 Pokemon Mystery Prize. That's what I'm giving away. I'd like to reach that 2,500 subscribers ASAP. I think we can do it. It's been on a steady climb, and I've really appreciated the comments. Be sure to go back to this video for your comment, for your chance to win one of those 4 prizes. That is the video where I will be pulling the winners from off of those comments, so be sure to do that there as well as here. And if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much. It means the world that you hang out in this channel and on these videos for this time. It's so easy to talk about, and the time just flies by for me. I hope you feel the same way, and I'd love your feedback on how it goes for you and what you're seeing. And if you want me to continue doing this kind of stuff, base set 2, what a wild one. Have a good day. Peace.